If you want to learn how to program but don't know where to start, this video should help point you in the right direction. The world of programming can be a large and confusing place, but let's try and break it down. I find that lots of people who have never tried to program before think of it as one skill. Being a programmer means how to do one thing. However, the truth is pretty far from that. There are many different programming languages and ways to program. So this brings us to the first decision an aspiring programmer has to make. What language do I start with? And the answer is, well, it depends. There are a lot of languages to choose from, and each have their own strengths and weaknesses. But most importantly, what language is right for you is going to completely depend on what you want to make. For this series, I've chosen to go with C#. No, not that C#, this C#. Now, some of you might know that I'm a bit biased here. After all, our entire YouTube channel is built around game development. And the most popular game engine today, Unity, uses C# as its programming language. But I do believe that C# is a great starting point for most developers. This is not because it does everything perfectly. No language does, but because of its diversity. You see, C# is a widely used programming language. It can be used to develop for mobile, PC, Mac, and even the web. And if you want to get into game development, you can get started with Unity right away. It's also based on C, which makes it really similar to other popular languages like C, C++, and Java. So if you later want to pick up another programming language, chances are that the transition won't be too difficult. So in this short series, you will learn how to get started programming in C# and make your first programs. The videos are going to focus on the absolute basics, so whether you want to make video games or web apps, you should be able to apply everything right away. But before we get coding, this video is sponsored by Jason Wyman. Sometimes when learning new skills like coding, it can be hard to find the motivation to learn by yourself. In this case, joining a course alongside other students and with live help from a teacher can be a better choice. Jason has made an awesome course on game architecture which will teach you how to write clean and proper game code. You'll have access to live help from Jason himself and a Discord channel where you can chat with your fellow students. This will also give you access to the Game Dev Mastery course which will teach you how to create a variety of game types in Unity. So make your first game by signing up now. Simply click the link in the description. Now, once we've chosen the language we want to write in, we need to pick a code editor. Many modern code editors will not only allow us to write code, but also help with debugging and building our program. You'll see some of these referred to as an IDE or Integrated Development Environment, but don't let that scary title throw you off. Of course, there are a lot of code editors to choose from, and most of the time it's a matter of personal preference. In this series, we're going to be using Visual Studio Code. VS Code is Microsoft's lightweight code editor. It's great because it can be used to program in almost any language, it's multi-platform, open source, and it's 100% free. Now, in this series, we're going to be creating a console application. If you don't know what that is, here's one. I agree with you that it does not look very appealing. But it's great for learning how to program since it allows us to focus on the language itself without too many distractions. But creating any kind of software completely from scratch is a huge challenge. Instead, we normally use what is called a framework. For now, you can think of a framework like a toolbox with a bunch of tools inside that will help you accomplish your job better and faster. It's kind of the foundation that we build our program on top of. We're going to use the .NET framework. This is also created by Microsoft and it can be used to create pretty much any kind of application. So don't worry, you don't need to understand exactly what a framework is, just know that we need one for now. And with that explanation in mind, let's get .NET and VS Code set up and run our first program. Woo! Get it? I ran a program.
That's really bad, mate.
So the first thing that we want to do is install the .NET Core. I'll of course have a link to this in the description. Simply follow that link, select your platform and hit install. Then simply follow the installation instructions that you see on the screen. It should be pretty straightforward. Once you're done, we can simply hit close. And next up, we want to install Visual Studio Code. Again, I'll of course have a link for this in the description. Simply download and follow the installation screen. And once it's done, we can go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. Now, VS Code by default is really lightweight and it doesn't have the necessary tools for us to start writing in C#. Instead, we need to install this as an extension. So let's go to the bottom icon in the left-hand side. And here we can go ahead and search for C#. Let's select the first one, as we can see, C# by Microsoft. And let's simply go ahead and hit install. And once it's finished, we are ready to start writing C#. However, there are actually a lot of really cool extensions available here. One that I personally like is the VS Code icons. So I'm going to search for icons here and select the VS Code icons and install it. It then prompts me to select it as an icon theme here, which I'm going to do. You can also hit this button right here. And all this does is just add some nice user-friendly icons to all of our files. And with that, we can go ahead and close down this page and go to the top icon here. And we're now ready to create our first project. So to do that, let's go to our desktop here and let's create a folder that is going to store our project. I'm going to call it My Awesome Program. And right now, this is of course completely empty. So let's go ahead and fill this up with a project. To do that, we go inside of VS Code, we hit Open Folder, we navigate to the My Awesome Program folder and hit Select. And as we can see, it's now opened up in VS Code, but of course it's still completely empty. So let's create a new project in here. To do that, we go to Terminal at the top here and create a new terminal. This is a command line interface that allows us to call certain commands. And as you can see here, we're currently inside of the My Awesome Program folder on my desktop. So we can go ahead and call a command in here called .NET space new in order to create a new project here. And we're then going to type console in order to use the simple console template. Let's hit enter. And as you can see, this creates some files in our project. The most important one is the program.cs file. This is the meat of our program, and it's where we're going to write our first lines of code. Now, for some of you, the font size might be very small by default. So to change this, we can go up to View and open up the command palette. You can also press Ctrl-Shift-P. And what this allows us to do is search through all kinds of commands. In our case, we want to change some user settings, so let's simply search for user settings. And indeed, here we can open the preferences and go under user settings. And right here, we can change the font size. Now I'm just going to set this to something like 24. And I'm also going to search at the top here for code lens. And here where it says editor code lens, I'm going to disable that. What this does is it overlays some extra information on top of your code. And I find that's a bit confusing for beginners, so I recommend just turning this off. And that's it for a setup. Now, we're not going to get into the code itself in this video. Instead, I'll just quickly show you how to run your program, as you're going to be doing that a lot. Now, if we look at our code here, we can see that by default, there's a bit in here. And this might look really scary. But for now, we can ignore everything except this line right here. This line writes out the words hello world in our console. So if we run our program now, it should simply display hello world. To run our program, we can go to our terminal and type .NET space run and hit enter. And indeed, it says hello world. But typing in this command every time we want to run our code is a bit annoying. Instead, we can tell VS Code how to run our program. Let's again press Ctrl-Shift-P to open up the command palette. Let's search for generate and select .NET generate assets for build and debug. And as you can see, this creates two new files in our program folder, launch and tasks. These files tell VS Code how to run our code while we're working on the program. By default, these are set up correctly, except that we want our program to open in a new window when we run it, instead of just having it down here in the internal console. So to change this, we go into our launch.json file and look for a property called console. And we're simply going to change this from internal console to external terminal with a non-capital E and a capital T. Now, if we save this and go to our program, we can actually run our code by simply going run, start debugging. And what you will see here is a bunch of things happening. You will see some things flashing on your screen. You will see things printed in the debug console. And you might even see a window quickly open and then close immediately. And the reason for this is not that our program didn't run. It did actually start, but it also closed as soon as the program was finished. And right now it's finished as soon as it said hello world. So we didn't even really get a chance to see it. So to fix this, let's add a line underneath here. So I'm going to add a new line here. And this line here is going to tell our program to wait for some input before closing. For now, you can just write after me. I'm going to type console.read key. And remember, capitalization is important here. Open and close parentheses and a semicolon. So this line is simply going to say, hey, we're going to wait for any kind of input from our keyboard. And this way, if we save this and go run our program, so we'll go to run, start debugging, or you can simply press F5. We can indeed see that it opens up, it displays hello world. And when we then press a key, I'm just going to press the space bar here. The program is finished and it closes automatically. Awesome. So that's our first program. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. In the next video, we're going to start writing some code. Also, don't forget to check out Jason's course on game architecture. Learn how to write clean game code by simply clicking the link in the description and get the Game Dev Mastery course included for free. On that, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video. Thanks to all of the awesome Patreon supporters who donated in April, and a special thanks to Dash Black, Lost to Violence Love Forever, Face Amerify, John, Replica Studios, SRT Mike, Leo Lisette, Jason Utescu, Nobby Ninja, Ville Vatanen, Daniel Desanik, Donachin Gascoigne, Dante Sam, Jacob Sanford, Naoki Wasaki, Marc-Antoine Girard, Gregory Pierce, Michael Korobov, The Mighty Zeus, Owen Cooper, Alison the Fierce, Erasmus, and Sirius. You guys rock.